Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. Only Xiao Yang's cold voice slowly reverberated across this quiet sky. Countless numbers of Misty Cloud sect disciples sighed in relief at this moment, before immediately feeling sorrowful. Back then, the Misty Cloud sect was so grand. It was unexpected that now, it had ended up at a stage where others could butcher it. This kind of difference was really difficult for anyone to accept. King at Xiao Yang's rising killing aura, it was likely that he had long since planned to wash the Misty Cloud sect in blood. If sect leader Yun didn't have some connection with him, it was likely that flood of blood would have flowed like a river on the open ground at this moment. Hence, being able to keep their lives was already an extremely lucky thing for them. Yun's lovely body trembled slightly when she heard Xiao Yang's cold tone that suggested he was giving the final verdict. The back of her teeth bit tightly on her lower red lip. Her face was covered with an unusual paleness. Was this Misty Cloud sect really going to be ruined in her hands? Yun clenched and unclenched her hands. Her bright eyes slowly swept over the faces of the countless number of Misty Cloud sect's disciples below. A desolate look surfaced on her face as she muttered, "Is this your revenge against the Misty Cloud sect?" Nalan Yangran also felt her heartache, as she looked at Yun's desolate manner. She clenched her hand tightly and suddenly raised her head to speak to Xiao Yang. "Xiao Yang, the Misty Cloud sect currently no longer poses any threat to you. Can't you show some mercy? Teacher, and I can swear that no one in the Misty Cloud sect will ever bring up this feud in the future." Xiao Yang glanced at her as he spoke with an expressionless face. "This is the last time I will give in on account of our previous relationships. Obliteration or self-disband. Choose one of the two. You will have to decide how to choose by yourself." Nalan Yenran's pupils became darker upon hearing Xiao Yang's words. She knew that Xiao Yang would definitely not allow the Misty Cloud sect to continue existing within the Jioma Empire. Letting off these ordinary disciples was already the greatest concession that he had made. A countless number of gazes were immediately thrown toward Yun when Xiao Yang's words sounded. It was completely up to her the choice she would make. Yao Yi hurriedly smiled and quickly nodded her head when she heard Xiao Yang's voice. She turned around and orderly gave the command. Under her command, the black masses of soldiers immediately withdrew swiftly like a torrent before disappearing from the mountaintop. "Everyone, thank you for the matter today." Xiao Yang's gaze once again looked at Jiao and the others after the army withdrew. A forced smile was lifted on his indifferent face. Jiao, Fa Ma, and the others hurriedly cupped their hands together and said, "You are too courteous." After hearing this, the person with the greatest credit for being able to destroy the Misty Cloud sect today was Xiao Yang and that mysterious teacher of his. In reality, they were only helping them stop the elders of the Misty Cloud sect. Moreover, now that the Misty Cloud sect was eliminated, the situation within the Jioma Empire might change drastically in the future. Given Xiao Yang's current strength, it was without a doubt that he would become an overlord of the Jioma Empire. They might end up making decisions based on his expression in the future. Once Xiao Yang completely recovers from my injuries, I will hand over all of the rewards that I promised everyone. Xiao Yang's gaze swept toward old Yin Jiyu and the other two by the side and spoke with a faint smile. Xiao Yang waved his hand. His forehead was covered with many tiny, cold droplets of sweat. Following the scattering of Do Qi, the injuries within his body began to erupt. An intense pain caused his entire body to quiver. "Your injuries are quite serious. Moreover, you have also forcefully overdrafted your strength. You should hurry and return to recuperate. Otherwise, if any sequelae remains, it might pose an extremely great obstacle toward the raising of your strength in the future." Hai Budong frowned and said as he looked at Xiao Yang's pale white face. Xiao Yang nodded slightly. He exhaled a breath of air and waved his hand toward everyone in the sky. He said, "We shall end the matter today here. Let's go." Once he said this, he turned his head and looked at Yun before speaking in a cool voice. "I hope that I will not hear the name of the Misty Cloud sect 1 month later. Otherwise." Yun smiled bitterly before inhaling a deep breath. She immediately replied indifferently, "Everything will be as you wish." Xiao Yang looked deeply at Yun before suddenly speaking, "Will you still commit suicide after the Misty Cloud sect disbands to apologize to your predecessors?" Yun was slightly startled. She looked at Xiao Yang, whose gaze was sweeping over the Misty Cloud sect's disciples below. Having understood his meaning, she could only clench her teeth and say, "I will do as you say as long as you let the Misty Cloud sect's disciples off." "That is good." Although the Misty Cloud sect will no longer exist after it is disbanded, it would not be difficult to search for them. Xiao Yang smiled faintly. His gaze immediately turned toward Yunshan's ice-cold corpse. A cold glint flashed across his eyes. His hand clenched and absorbed it into his hand before stuffing it into his storage ring. Although Yao Lao was currently captured by the Hall of Souls, Xiao Yang decided that he had to gather all of the ingredients needed to refine a body that teacher had mentioned. This was because he believed that he would definitely rescue teacher in the future. After which, he would give the old him a perfect body. Yun's expression changed a little when she saw Xiao Yang's action. She wanted to open her mouth to say something, but she could only swallow the words in her mouth in the face of the cold glint that seeped out of Xiao Yang's gaze. Currently, there were so many lives from the Misty Cloud sect being held in Xiao Yang's hand. She did not dare to really anger him. Naylan Jie and Naylan Su cupped their hands toward Yun before they hurriedly moved their bodies and rushed toward the capital. They were not willing to stay on this messy Misty Cloud mountain. A bleak autumn wind blew through the sky, leaving behind two frail-looking women. They looked at each other and the corners of their mouths contained a bitterness. "Teacher, what do you plan to do?" Naylan Yangran sighed and asked after seeing the somewhat dejected faces of the Misty Cloud sect's disciples below. She waved her hand in a discouraged manner and said, "Inform the Misty Cloud sect's disciple that they should try to leave as fast as possible within a month. Give everyone some money when they leave with their strength. They should possess the ability to make a living." Naylan Yangran quietly nodded. Her heart was also filled with desolation. The sunlight in the sky penetrated through the layer of clouds and landed faintly on Yun in the sky. Her bright eyes looked in the direction where Xiao Yang and the others had left and an unknown emotion surfaced in her heart. The tender, young man from back then had really become a strong person who could take care of himself as she had expected. However, it was unexpected that after he had grown, the first person whom he would hurt was herself. Almost everyone knew just how powerful and frightening the strength of the Misty Cloud sect was in the Jioma Empire. Due to Yun Shan being present these few years, the reputation of the Jioma Empire had greatly rose. However, the shocking news of the Misty Cloud sect being disbanded was currently spreading. This was undoubtedly an earth-shakingly big matter to the citizens of the Jioma Empire. While this matter was spreading and creating an uproar, the main character of this issue, Xiao Yang from the Xiao clan, also became completely known to everyone within the Jioma Empire. Some people might feel somewhat unfamiliar and at a loss about the name, but those with a good memory would still be able to vaguely remember the rookie, who had rose like a comet within the empire, from 3 years ago. However, Xiao Yang back then was merely a very outstanding individual among the younger generations. He was not worth mentioning in the eyes of an old demon like Yun Shan. Hence, he was chased out of the empire back then, because he had offended the Misty Cloud sect. However, within 3 short years, he had returned as a strong person. Moreover, his strength had reached a frightening extent where he could defeat a large being like the Misty Cloud sect. Such swift improvement really caused one to involuntarily click one's tongue and exclaim. During the time the entire empire was shaken because of these matters, the Misty Cloud sect finally released the news that they were about to disband for the first time. With the confirmation of the news, it involuntarily stirred up a countless number of stunned voices once again. The Misty Cloud sect's disciples began to leave the sect and descend the mountain not long after the news of the Misty Cloud sect being about to disband was released. Finally, they hid their identities and blended in with the ordinary citizens of the empire. In the future, they would no longer be able to rely on that identity to boast to others. Within a short half a month, most of the Misty Cloud sect's disciples had already left. The Misty Cloud mountain had also changed from being tightly guarded to being empty. This mountain peak, which was viewed by the people from the Jioma Empire as a training holy ground in the past, would become an ordinary mountain range in the future. Perhaps with the flow of time, even the name Misty Cloud sect would be gradually forgotten in the long river of time. An ancient sect, which was once prominent within the Jioma Empire for a few hundred years, had quietly declined in this manner. Jioma Empire's capital, Jioma Sacred City. A countless number of whispers and emotional sighs sounded within the Jioma Empire following the disbanding of the Misty Cloud sect. All of them had witnessed the decline of this enormous faction. While they were witnessing this great and unexpected change, Xiao Yang's name had also begun to spread through the mouths of a countless number of people. This was because anyone who was not stupid understood that this young man might, well, replace the status that the Misty Cloud sect enjoyed in the past within the Jioma Empire, and become an overlord in the training of Do Qi within the empire. The Xiao Mansion, which was seated in a good location, within the middle of the city, had undoubtedly become the existence which attracted the most attention recently. There would be an unceasing flow of people in this place every day. A countless number of leaders belonging to various reputable factions within the capital would personally come with expensive gifts to congratulate them. They were even willing to ignore their status and queue outside of the mansion for a long time. Some of them were even full of smiles toward those members of the Xiao clan who were guarding the door in order to express their thoughts to the Xiao clan. Their tones were extremely affectionate. Such a treatment caused the vanity of some members of the Xiao clan to soar. Even their disposition had also changed slightly. They no longer hid about like in the past and acted as cautiously as a mouse. A black-robed young man was seated in a chair within a spacious quiet hall in the Xiao mansion. His eyes were slightly shut. The beautiful female servants within the hall used small steps to walk as they carefully filled his teacup, before standing by the side and secretly weighing this new overlord within the Jioma Empire, who was the most sought-after person. A redness covered their faces. Which young lady did not have a crush? The current Xiao Yang was the hero adored by a countless number of young ladies in the Jioma Empire. He was able to fight with a legendary elite dozong at only 20-odd years old. Such a talent and achievement really caused people to feel disbelief. Ha ha, ha, little fellow, you are finally out. How is it? Are your injuries cured? A laugh suddenly broke the silence of the large hall. Xiao Li's figure immediately appeared outside of the door. Behind him, a female servant was pushing Xiao Ding's wheelchair and slowly walked in. The black-robed young man slowly opened his eyes when he heard the laughter. A faint fiery glow flashed across his dark black pupils. His young and handsome face still carried a little paleness. The dense white fire seal on his forehead looked lifelike. If one were to look carefully, it appeared like a substance-like flame, giving one an unusual demon-like feeling. The person with such an appearance was naturally Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang looked at Xiao Li and Xiao Ding as they entered. A slight smile was revealed on his expressionless face. He stood up and walked over. Xiao Li walked forward swiftly and used his strength to pat Xiao Yang's shoulder. He rejoiced and laughed. Have you fully recovered from your injuries, little fellow? Your bones are indeed very hard. I thought that you would need to at least rest for 1 month before you would have the strength to speak. It is unexpected that you have recovered some strength after only half a month. This is really surprising. An old clear laugh was suddenly transmitted into the large, spacious hall. Hai Budong's figure slowly appeared in the eyes of everyone. Xiao Yang also smiled slightly when he saw Hai Budong's figure. He got up, invited him in before once again returning to his seat. Hai Budong's gaze carefully swept over Xiao Yang's body after sitting in a chair. A moment later, the surprise in his eyes became astonishment as he exclaimed, "Your aura." From the way Hai Budong looked at it, Xiao Yang's aura was somewhat unsteady as it rose and fell. It seemed quite similar to the situation when one was just about to advance one's strength. Xiao Yang smiled and nodded when he saw the astonishment on Hai Budong's face. He softly said, "Although my injuries were extremely serious this time, it seems to have allowed me to touch the barrier of the Do Huang class. If I am lucky, I will soon be able to try breaking into the Do Huang level." A joy spread over Hai Budong's face when he heard this. He immediately smacked his lips and exclaimed out loud. Finally he sighed, "You little fellow. Although it can be said that you have gained some benefits by fighting with a powerful person like Yun Shan, it is still unexpected that they would enable you to touch the Do Huang barrier." Being an elite Do Huang, he naturally understood just how large the gap between a Do Wang and Do Huang was and how difficult it was to cross. Back then, he had remained at the peak of the Do Wang class for a full 10 years, before he came across a lucky opportunity to break through. Seeing this training speed of Xiao Yang now really caused him to be somewhat speechless. Take a good retreat once your injuries are fully cured, and see if you can successfully break through to the Do Huang class. Hai Budong laughed and reminded. After which, he changed his tone and laughed, "That's right, you got someone to call me over. Is there some matter?" The smile on Xiao Yang's face withdrew slightly upon the mention of proper business. His finger gently pressed on the table as he slowly asked, "I wonder if old Hai has heard of the faction called the Hall of Souls." The Hall of Souls. Hai Budong was startled when he heard this. His gaze revealed his musing before he spoke a moment later. That mysterious expert, who had appeared within the Misty Cloud sect, should be an expert from this faction, right? Yes. I have indeed not heard of this faction in the past. However, due to that mysterious expert, I have gathered some information about this faction during the time that you were recuperating. It may not be much, but I learned that this faction is extremely powerful. Moreover, it is extremely mysterious and strange. It also focuses on hunting powerful spirits that have lost their physical body on the continent. Hai Budong frowned as he replied. Great meeting of factions. Xiao Yang was startled when he heard this. He had never heard of this great meeting. The position where the Jioma Empire is located is coincidentally the northwestern part of the continent. There are at least 100 large and small countries in this region. The Jioma Empire is merely one of them. There are some factions with quite a great strength within each empire, and they are uncountable if we add all of them up. Hai Budong smiled when he saw Xiao Yang's uncertain expression. He explained, this great meeting of factions is conducted by some of the strongest factions within this northwestern region. It does not have any good intentions. Some fellows with a big ambition want to unite all the factions within this northwestern region together, and become an existence that is comparable to those top factions on the continent. The Sky Serpent Mansion. Xiao Yang was startled when he heard this. Immediately, he recalled the two mysterious experts, whom he ended up meeting when he went to the Mo clan to rescue Qing Lin back then. It was unexpected that this faction was actually stronger than the Misty Cloud sect. No wonder they could extend their limbs into the Black Corner region. At the very least, the Misty Cloud sect did not have the ability to survive in that kind of chaotic region. The Sky Serpent Mansion is within the Sky Serpent Empire, located in the middle of this northwestern region. It has a transcendent position within their empire that only exceeded that of the Misty Cloud sect within the Jioma Empire. Even the change of the imperial family there was partly manipulated by them in secret. That country also possesses some other factions, but all of them treat the Sky Serpent Mansion as their leader. They are required to pay a tribute to the Sky Serpent Mansion every year. Hai Budong laughed. It has not been a long time since the Jioma Empire was established as a country. Adding this to the fact that it is located further to the west, there were seldom any foreign experts entering it. Other than the few large factions within the empire and the imperial family, it is very difficult for an ordinary person to have this level of understanding. If not because of that little girl called Qing Lin back then, the people from the Sky Serpent Mansion would also not have come here. Xiao Yang's face could not help but be amazed after hearing these secrets for the first time. Xiao Li and Xiao Ding by his side also clicked their tongues and sighed. They had muddled along in the empire for so many years, but were completely unaware of all this information. Hai Budong smiled when he saw the stunned manner of the three of them. His gaze immediately glanced at Xiao Yang as he slowly said, now that the Misty Cloud sect has been disbanded, it is likely that the Jioma Empire will not have a faction that it can take out. Xiao Yang raised his eyebrow when he saw Hai Budong's expression. He softly said, what is the meaning of the words you speak, old Hai? Little fellow, the Hall of Souls is interested in your Xiao clan, but it is impossible for you to get everyone in your clan to hide their names and conceal themselves in the deep mountains, right? Old Hai laughed. Xiao Yang was silent. He had promised his father that he would once again get the Xiao clan to prosper. Naturally, it was impossible for him to get everyone to become a woodcutter in the mountains. Xiao Yang's eyes flicked around when he saw Hai Budong's smiling manner. A moment later, he narrowed his eyes and nodded slightly. He spoke in a deep voice, in that case, I would need to trouble Old Hai to help me contact Chairman Fa Ma and the heads of the few other large clans once I completely recover from my injuries. It is also time for the sky of the Jioma Empire to change. Hai Budong grinned and nodded upon hearing this. He ultimately believed that Xiao Yang's footsteps should not stop in the Jioma Empire. The enormous Do Chi continent would be the place for him to play in. Xiao Yang did not go out during the period after he and Hai Budong had finished their discussion. Instead, he quietly remained in the Xiao mansion and focused on recuperating from his injuries. If he wanted to build a faction that was even stronger than the Misty Cloud sect in this Jioma Empire, he would need to have a sufficient strength to deter all the factions and experts within the empire. Otherwise, it would merely just be a joke in the end. During the time that Xiao Yang was calmly recuperating, the Misty Cloud mountain had finally been completely emptied. After many Misty Cloud sect's disciples left, some people within the Jioma Empire, who thought that the news was a rumor, finally began to believe that the enormous sect that had dominated the Jioma Empire for a few hundred years was truly about to disappear from this empire. Somewhat strange. In the past, the overlord of the Jioma Empire was undoubtedly the Misty Cloud sect. Following the dismissal of the Misty Cloud sect's disciples, the situation within the empire also became. Now that the Misty Cloud sect had toppled, that position naturally caused many factions to have red eyes as they coveted after it. Of course, they might have red eyes, but there was not a single person who was foolish enough to step forward and announce that they would replace the Misty Cloud sect. This was because everyone knew that the only person within the Jioma Empire who had the qualification and ability to do so was the third young master of the Xiao clan. The person who had defeated Yunshan, Xiao Yang. Everyone was waiting for the next course of action from that young man who chose silence. Jiao Xingtian and Princess Yao Yi were seated in a quiet hall within the Jioma imperial city. They would occasionally frown a little as they conversed softly. Yun has already dismissed all of the disciples from the Misty Cloud sect. This Misty Cloud sect will become history within the Jioma Empire in the future. Yao Yi rubbed her forehead. She had been observing each and every single action of the Misty Cloud sect during these few days. Only after seeing that Yun had really acted according to the agreement did she sigh in relief. Jiao Xingtian nodded slightly. However, there was no much smiles on his face. His gaze passed through the window and swept in a certain direction in the capital before muttering, although we have gotten rid of this ferocious tiger known as the Misty Cloud sect, another even stronger and younger mighty lion has arrived. I wonder if this is a blessing or a curse to the Jioma imperial family. Yao Yi was silent. She immediately let out a soft sigh and said, "This is something that we have no choice in. It was impossible for us to overthrow the Misty Cloud sect with just our strength." Everyone was aware of the Misty Cloud sect's wild ambition. If we were to allow them to continue developing, they would definitely have acted against our imperial family. At that time, I'm afraid that Yunshan alone would be able to easily wipe out everyone within our imperial family. Jiao Xingtian's expression was solemn as he slowly said, "I have received news. I'm afraid that Xiao Yang has the intention to establish a faction within the empire. At that time, there might be another Misty Cloud sect. Tell me, what should we do about this? Don't tell me that we must just open our eyes and watch Xiao Yang establish his faction." Jiao Xingtian frowned and said, "Xiao Yang's character is not as vicious as Yunshan. He is also someone who values relationships. One would only end up suffering if one takes the hard approach against such a person. Hence, it is likely that we can only go about in a roundabout gentle manner." Yao Yi thought for a moment before slowly speaking. "Gentle. Xiao Yang is a person who will return more respect if someone respects him. If you quietly possess ill will to him and he were to discover it, he would immediately turn against you. He would also be merciless in his attack." Yao Yi voiced her thoughts. "Since our current strength is unable to pose much of a hindrance to him, why don't we help move things along? If our imperial family were to follow, we might gain some benefits." "You mean that we should not only not stop him from establish a faction, but should also lend him a hand?" Jiao Xingtian was stunned as he asked in an incredulous manner. Jiao Xingtian knit his brows tightly. His hand gently tapped on the surface of the table before sighing a moment later. He said, "All right, we will do as you say and give it a try first. Hopefully, this fellow will not be like Yun Shan in wanting to replace our imperial family. Otherwise, I will not let him off easily even if I have to fight, until the both of us are seriously injured. Yao Yi smiled slightly when she saw Jiao Xingtian nodded. She mused for a moment before suddenly speaking, actually, our Jioma Empire also suffers quite a lot of drawbacks with the disappearance of the Misty Cloud sect. Having lost them, our Jioma Empire would not even have the qualification to participate in the future Northwestern Great Meeting of Fractions. In this way, it is likely that we would be ridiculed by our neighboring countries. That's right, I heard that there is quite a lot of activity in the Chuyun Empire recently. Originally, the country had many large and small factions. However, they were repeatedly destroyed during these few years. Currently, the country possesses an enormous faction. I have also heard of it. That faction seems to be called the Poison Sect. Not only is it mysterious and unpredictable, but according to our information, the mysterious sect leader of the Poison Sect might well have a frightening strength that could contend against an elite Dozong. They might well leap and become a powerful faction that could contend with the Sky Serpent Mansion and the Thunderbolt Sect in the next great meeting of factions. At that time, the Chuyun Empire might become even more arrogant. Jiao Xingtian's expression sank slightly at the mention of this. The Chuyun Empire and the Jioma Empire were like water and fire. Almost every year, some conflict would erupt at their borders. Both parties could not see eye to eye with each other. Therefore, if our Jioma Empire is unable to produce a powerful faction and experts that are not an embarrassment, it is likely that our position in this northwestern region would sink even lower. Yao Yi sighed as she spoke. Jiao Xingtian nodded his head. His gaze flickered for a moment before he spoke in a deep voice. Looks like we must still rely on Xiao Yang. All right. I shall trust this little fellow once again. Great-grandfather will not be disappointed. Yao Yi smiled. She was usually good at judging people. Xiao Yang was a person who valued relationships greatly. He would definitely be unable to do something like repaying a favor with malice. You are so confident in him. Jiao Xingtian's face immediately revealed a strange expression. He swept over Yao Yi's pretty face before suddenly speaking with a smile. Yao Yi, don't tell me that you have a crush on that little fellow. Great-grandfather, what nonsense are you talking? Yao Yi's face immediately turned flushed red upon hearing Jiao Xingtian's words, as she spoke in a pampered manner. Jiao Xingtian could only give up his futile thoughts. He sighed and walked out of the hall. Yao Yi also laughed bitterly, as she looked at Jiao Xingtian's disappearing back. She had long since dispatched a large number of spies. However, that poison sect acted extremely strange. It was extremely difficult to inquire about news within the sect. Moreover, their interior was also tightly guarded. Even if a spy could sneak in, it was still extremely difficult to make contact with their core within a short period of time. The most recent information she had received from the Chuyun Empire only contained two short words. Poison woman. Poison woman. Yao Yi softly muttered the words in the hall. Her voice was filled with doubt and ignorance. Xiao Yang stayed within a chamber while the outsider world was in an uproar over the matter regarding the Misty Cloud sect. He put in all his effort to heal his body's injuries as soon as possible without receiving any sequelae. The injuries that Xiao Yang received this time around were more serious compared to any other time. Hence, even with his strong physical body and his knowledge in alchemy, attempting to fully recover still required him to spend quite a long period of time. Xiao Yang did not appear frustrated because of this. Nothing wrong could happen during something like recuperation. Otherwise, his situation would be even worse if he added injuries on top of injuries within his body. For someone with Xiao Yang's strength, it was not frightening to receive some injuries. What was frightening was when injuries left behind a sequela that posed an enormous hindrance toward him when he attempted to charge to a higher level. However, this kind of worry was not considered a big matter for Xiao Yang. Being an alchemist, he knew just how he could use the safest method to allow himself to gradually recover. All he needed was some time. A black-robed, young man was seated on a rock bed in a quiet chamber within the Xiao clan. Both of his hands formed a seal, and his breathing was slow and long. The surrounding air would ripple each time he inhaled and exhaled. Immediately, an energy that was visible to the naked eye followed his breathing and swiftly entered his body. The inhalation and exhalation of energy continued for nearly an hour. Only then did Xiao Yang slowly open his eyes. A faint fire glow slowly rushed through his dark black eyes, before it immediately disappeared. His black pupils gradually became as calm as a ripless old well. Xiao Yang's finger rubbed his serene sea storage ring, as he gently exhaled a breath of air. A sleek, round dark green medicinal pill appeared in his hand. A medicinal fragrance that caused one to be intoxicated spread out the moment the medicinal pill appeared. One's spirit would be braced slightly if one were to inhale it into their body. This medicinal pill was named Yuan Recovery Pill. It was a kind of healing medicine. However, its tier was quite high, with it being a tier 5 pill. This medicinal pill was specially used to treat some serious injuries. Moreover, due to the gentle medicinal effect, it would not create even the slightest damage within one's body. The jade bottle tilted slightly, and the bright red medicinal liquid flowed out. Finally, it poured over Xiao Yang's right hand. The moment the medicinal liquid made contact with his hand, an unusual sound was emitted. The corner of Xiao Yang's mouth also twitched, and the heat caused his entire hand to appear as though it had been placed in a furnace. Although waves of searing pain were transmitted from Xiao Yang's hand, Xiao Yang did not panic. He knew that this was a normal condition. With a flick of his finger, a jade piece appeared in his hand before he carefully spread the bright red medicinal liquid. Finally, his entire right wrist was covered with the bright red medicinal liquid. Within a short couple of breaths after the medicinal liquid was parted, it moved along his pores and entered his body. The bones in Xiao Yang's hand also transmitted waves of numb feeling at this moment. This 9 Ganoderma bone mending cream does indeed have quite a good effect. Joy flashed across Xiao Yang's face as he sensed the numb feeling transmitted from his bones. He could clearly sense the bones in his hand swiftly healing. The weak feeling that he felt when he clenched his fist in the past also quietly withdrew. Replacing it was a feeling of strength. Teacher, rest assured that I will raise my strength as quickly as possible and rescue both father and you. Xiao Yang clenched his fist tightly. A fierce glint flashed in his eyes as he spoke within his heart. The heavenly flame on both of his hands swiftly disappeared as his mind moved. His gaze once again landed on that dark black ring. The ring was connected with Yao Lao's spirit, and was where he rested in the past, therefore, Xiao Yang was unable to enter it. However, now that he had the essence body of the bone-chilling flame, Xiao Yang was also able to control this ancient black ring as he wished. A layer of faint dense white flame surfaced on his finger. He gently rubbed over the dark black ring, and his spiritual strength entered into the space within the ring without any obstruction. The space within this dark black ring was something that even the high-grade, sea serene storage ring on Xiao Yang's hand had difficulty comparing to. Of course, the most valuable thing was not this ring, but the many things that were stored within the ring. If one counted the time was almost up for Xiao Li since the moment that he swallowed the life-devouring pill until now. Therefore, Xiao Yang had to maximize his time to resolve this matter. Otherwise, it was likely that Xiao Li would instantly die. At that time, forget about Xiao Yang's own pain, he did not even know how to account to his big brother. Until now, the two of them had not brought up this matter to Xiao Ding. This was because they knew that given Xiao Ding's temper, it was likely that he would end up viciously reprimanding the two of them if he were aware of these matters. Xiao Yang slowly pulled open the scroll. The bold and vigorous words, that caused Xiao Yang to feel somewhat familiar, appeared in his eyes, causing him to sigh softly. Little fellow, the life-devouring pill has a medicinal effect that is too overbearing. Even I have difficulty completely eliminating it. However, there is no need to feel disappointed. It is not that there is no solution. The life-devouring pill uses a person's life force to obtain strength. Since we cannot undo it, we should raise the life force of the person consuming the medicinal pill. In this way, it would enable the person who consumed the medicinal pill to extend his life for a period of time. Of course, this is merely a temporary expedient. If you want to completely eliminate it, it would require the consumer to break through to the Do Huang class during his remaining life. Breaking through to the Do Huang class would truly enable one to resolve the life-devouring pill. Deep Green Longevity Pill, a Tier 6 medicinal pill that is able to raise one's lifespan by nearly 10 years. One individual can only consume one pill in their lifetime. The refining ingredients: deep green fruit, king longevity starch, 10,000 years vine. Her heart didn't feel too great. Naylan Yenran's pupils paused on Xiao Yang's young, delicate, peaceful face. A slight ripple appeared in her eyes. He seemed to have become much more matured and colder compared to 3 years ago. It is likely that he had experienced quite a lot during these 3 years. Naylan Yenran's mind was somewhat absent-minded as she looked at the black-robed, young man in front of her. She suddenly recalled the matter that changed the relationship between the two of them a couple of years ago. The bitterness on the corner of Naylan Yenran's mouth became even more intense upon seeing this manner of Xiao Yang. The back of her teeth gently bit her lower red lip. This could be considered a bitter fruit that she had planted. A bitterness had indeed seeped deep into her heart now that she had eaten it. I am not thinking of getting you to forget about those matters back then. It is just that I want to say that I, Naylan Yenran, did indeed have the short-sightedness of a mouse. Given the current situation, I can be considered to have sought my own bitterness. Naylan Yenran mocked herself, before immediately turning around and swiftly flying to the backside of the mountain. Follow me. A glow flickered in Xiao Yang's eyes as he looked at the graceful figure in front of him. A moment later, he flapped the fire wings on his back and swiftly followed. Xiao Yang followed Naylan Yenran to the back of the mountain and passed through some dense forest along the way. Finally, they stopped at a precipitous mountain cliff. Teacher is on the top of the cliff. You can go by yourself. After today, teacher and I will leave the Jioma Empire. We might seldom return in the future. Naylan Yenran pointed to the top of the cliff and spoke in a soft voice as her body paused in front of the cliff. Leave? Xiao Yang was startled when he heard this. He immediately asked in a deep voice, where? You have arrived. The lady spoke in a soft voice. She suddenly let out a distant sigh after having heard that slight footsteps. You are intending to leave the Jioma Empire. Xiao Yang's expression was somewhat ugly, as he slowly walked forward and questioned in a deep voice. The lady slowly turned around and revealed that pretty face. She was naturally Yun. At this moment, her pretty eyes glanced at Xiao Yang as she said, the Misty Cloud sect has already ceased to exist. There is no longer any point in me remaining. I have been trapped within this Jioma Empire for so many years, and it is good to be able to leave. There are many experts on the Do-Chi continent, with a danger that is beyond compare. As a lady, going out to experience it is no different for asking to suffer. This Jioma Empire may not be as interesting as the outside world, but it can protect you. Xiao Yang clenched his teeth and spoke. He studied Yun. She was wearing a dispirited look between her eyebrows. Yun immediately revealed a smile upon hearing Xiao Yang's words. Although her smile was short-lived, it caused one to be dazzled. No matter how one puts it, I have the strength of someone at the peak of the Do Huang class. How can I be some weak woman without even the strength to restrain a chicken? Yun shook her head slightly. Her bright eyes looked at Xiao Yang as she softly said, You have already turned the Misty Cloud sect into this manner. I know that you are doing this for revenge, after the Misty Cloud sect attempted to exterminate your Xiao clan. The disbanding of the Misty Cloud sect now can be considered retribution. I do not hate you even though teacher has died in your hands. Then why are you still leaving? Xiao Yang knit his brows. He hesitated a little before speaking. I am currently lacking some powerful experts beside me. If you really do not hate me, you can stay behind and help me. The glow in her bright pupils started intently at Xiao Yang. It only turned away after the latter's face turned slightly red. Yun's voice was gentle as she spoke, Indeed, I do not hate you. However, I am ultimately the sect leader of the Misty Cloud sect even though the Misty Cloud sect is already non-existent. Xiao Yang clenched his fist tight. A fury surfaced within his eyes. He understood Yun's meaning. She did indeed not hate him for destroying the Misty Cloud sect. However, due to her unique status, she could not remain by his side. Xiao Yang's expression was dark. This woman was always so stubborn. I heard that you are intending to establish a faction within the Jioma Empire. What the Misty Cloud sect has collected over the many years is in here. It no longer has much use to me now. I shall give it to you. Yun smiled as she looked at Xiao Yang's expression. She slowly stepped forward, carrying a fragrant wind. She immediately placed that dark green ring in Xiao Yang's hand. Xiao Yang held the storage ring tightly. His gaze stared intently at this woman, who had left him a deep memory during the first time that he had left to train. He asked in a deep voice, "Must you leave?" Yun looked at the delicate, handsome, young face from close proximity. A gentleness surfaced within her eyes. There was a little less tenderness and more maturity within it compared to 3 years ago. "Little fellow, you really have grown up. Cuckoo, now that the Misty Cloud sect has turned into this manner, I also wish to go out and take a walk around. Perhaps I will return once again, when I manage to settle the matter in my heart. At that time, it is likely that I will not reject you if you still wish for me to stay and help you." Yun slowly extended her delicate hand and gently fondled Xiao Yang's face, while she spoke in a gentle voice. Xiao Yang's face also gradually turned gentler, as he sensed the soft touch that was transmitted from her hand. It was not like he did not have the slightest feeling toward this woman in front of him. "Sometimes, I think that if you were a little bolder in the mountain cave back then, and ignored my threats, now might..." Yun suddenly laughed softly, as her eyes stared at Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang suddenly extended his hand as his eyes flickered. He hugged that delicate waist and whispered, "Are you implying something?" A faint bright redness surfaced on Yun's pale snow-like face upon being forcefully hugged by Xiao Yang. She gently struggled for a moment, but she was hugged even more tightly by Xiao Yang. Yun could only give up her struggle after a futile attempt to break away. She flipped her hand and a deep blue inner vest appeared in her hand. She gently pressed the vest against Xiao Yang's chest and softly spoke, "This is the first thing that I gave you. Originally, it was tattered, but I have carefully mended it. Even though it no longer has much use to you now, you can still carefully hold on to it. Otherwise, don't blame me for falling out with you should you be unable to take it out when I return to the Jioma Empire in the future." Yun only had the time to emit a soft hoot upon being sneakily attacked by Xiao Yang before she was stopped. Her delicate hand knocked against the front of his chest, but it was soft and weak. There was not even the slightest force within it. "Forget it. In any case, I am about to leave. I shall just do as you want for once." Yun softly sighed in her heart as she shut her eyes. Her tightly closed mouth was slowly opened and allowed the other party's domineering attack in. A man and woman were in a tight embrace on the cliff of a mountain. They were emitting a feeling that would cause one's heart to feel a fiery heat. Nalan Yenran's delicate hand gently leaned against the rock wall on one side of the mountain cliff. Her gaze was complicated as she looked at the man and woman who were hugging in the distance. A moment later, she let out a smile of melancholy as she quietly withdrew. Xiao Yang was not able to stop Yun's departure. This was because he clearly understood within his heart that despite Yun not having developed too much hatred over the destruction of the Misty Cloud sect, she was ultimately the sect leader of the Misty Cloud sect no matter how one put it. It was impossible for her not to feel a slight grudge. At the same time, she may have been thinking of remaining by Xiao Yang's side to lend him a hand, but she still faintly felt some resistance to such an idea. This resistance came from her feelings toward the Misty Cloud sect. It came from the many years that the Misty Cloud sect had groomed her. Perhaps part of the reason Yun wanted to leave the Jioma Empire this time around was to resolve the resistance she felt in her heart. She had mentioned that she would be able to return the day she was able to place the Misty Cloud sect deep within her heart, without it being brought back up. It was not difficult for Xiao Yang to forcefully get Yun to stay given his current strength, and those of the experts beside him. He had special feelings for Yun. Those matters within the magical Beast Mountain range, when he was young back then, were things he had difficulty forgetting. The lovely events that had occurred within the mountain cave would cause his heart to vaguely wiggle at the slightest memory from those days. Hence, he did not stop Yun in order to allow her to resolve the knot in her heart. Xiao Yang remained on the Misty Cloud mountain for 3 days. Yun finally ceased delaying any longer on the morning of the 4th day. She was afraid that if she continued to remain by his side, the difficult thoughts of leaving would scatter. Hence, she brought Nalan Yangran and quietly left while Xiao Yang was training with his eyes shut. Yun, who had left quietly, did not realize that Xiao Yang, whose eyes had been tightly shut, had opened slowly when she turned around. His gaze was gentle as he looked at that moving figure, but he did not say anything to stop her, watching her leap into the sky. Finally, she disappeared from his sight. Xiao Yang's expression quietly became dark during the time Yun took to quietly disappear from Xiao Yang's line of sight. He extended his hand and picked up the deep blue armor vest that was folded neatly by his side. A slight fragrance remained on it. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.